Hi everyone, I hope you're all surviving the coronavirus lockdown. One of the things that I like to do when I'm bored or stressed out is cook. In fact, I've been doing a lot of that lately, and if you're a Facebook contact of mine, you've seen a ton of pictures that I've been putting up on Facebook lately, and I've got pretty good feedback on it, and people have been asking me a lot about recipes and that kind of thing. So it dawned on me it might be fun, for me anyway, to do a video series. And I was lucky enough to get my hands on some of these lobsters. Now you may ask yourself, how did you get your hands on lobsters during the corona lockdown? Well, as it turns out, the reality is that lobster fishermen are hurting these days, just like a lot of other people. They have no place to get rid of their inventory, and we have a friend who knows a lobster fisherman who was able to hook us up, and we were able to help him out by taking some of his lobsters off his hands, and we got the bounty of that. So one of the things I like to do is get as many meals out of a given product as I can. We're going to try to get probably three different meals out of this. My friend Linda is actually looking for the meat for some of these that we got. I'm going to use the carcasses after they're left over to try to make a lobster bisque. And we'll see where it goes from there, if I can get maybe a third meal out of it if I have enough product left over. So if you're the type of person that's squeamish about lobsters and how they fulfill their culinary destiny, if you know what I mean, I get that. It's all good. This is probably not the video for you. But if you haven't ever cooked a lobster, or if you have and you're wondering about how to get the meat out of the shell without breaking it up into a million pieces or different ways of cooking it, I'll try to give you some tips in these videos. It'll be a multi-part video because I'm not quite sure how long this will go or how long it'll take. But please enjoy me on the journey with the lobsters in my first video. So let's talk about these guys for a minute. Many of you probably haven't even held a lobster in your hand, and if you haven't, it can be pretty scary. There's a couple things you need to know about handling a lobster. If they don't have these little rubber bands on them, that is a bad thing. I've never seen them come from a store without the little rubber bands, but these claws could break a bone pretty easily, so if you see one without the rubber band on it, stay away from it. One of the other things you need to know about lobsters is, like most shellfish, after they pass on, whether it be naturally or some other way, they start to decompose really quickly. So what you want to see when you get a lobster is that they're pretty active. These guys came out of the water just this morning, so they are very active, and I'm happy to see that, because the more fresh they are, like anything else, the better they're going to taste. So let's talk about cooking the lobsters. My preferred method is to steam them. I know lots of you have either seen or done the boiling method, where you plunge them into a pot of boiling water, and that's certainly fine and all that, but over the years I've learned that steaming them is actually a better way, because it doesn't wash away all the flavor from having them being stuck in water. Of course, if you're lucky enough to live by the ocean and you have some seawater to do that, that's a great thing. Just fill up the pot with seawater and get it to a boil, and in they go. That's probably the best way you can do it, but saving that, I like to steam them. Adding salt is important. So after you get the water in the pot, just sprinkle some salt in there, and put more than you think you need, because it really wants to taste like the ocean if you can get it there. Got your water and your steamer basket in the pan. Next thing is to put it on the stove, put it on high heat, cover up that pot to make it boil faster, and wait until things get boiling. So I know I told you that the rubber bands are there for your protection, to make sure that the claws don't bite you. But one of the things I like to do before I put them in the pot is to take the rubber bands off. My theory is that the rubber leaves a little taste in the water. Could be true, could not be true. I'm comfortable handling lobsters. If you're not comfortable handling them with the rubber bands off, then leave them on. It's certainly probably not a big deal. To take them off though, what I do is I lay them down on a cutting board and then I snip them and put them right into the pot right after that. So now that we've got the pot boiling and the lobster ready to go, in the pot it goes. Drop that bad boy in there, take the cover of the pan, pop that on, and give it about 10 minutes before you start checking on. These lobsters are pretty small, they're like in the pound and a quarter, pound and a half range. So after about 10 minutes I like to check and see where they're at. When your timer goes off, take a look at the lobsters. If they're all red, they probably are ready, but there's another way to check for sure. So you say you haven't cooked a lot of lobsters before and you're wondering how to know for sure if they're done? Well, the correct temperature for lobster meat is actually about 140 degrees. So if you check with a thermometer and it's anywhere over 140, you are good to go. So our lobsters are cooked now. There's a lot of things you can do, one of which is just get right at it, get some butter and crack these babies open and eat them. For my particular use, I'm going to be removing the meat from the shell so that I can use it in another recipe, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So now you've got your lobsters all cooked, they're cool enough to handle, you have resisted the urge to dive right in and stick them in butter, and maybe you want to use them for another recipe down the road. That's what I'm going to do with them. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you as best I can how to get the meat out without breaking it up. So the first thing you do is grab the tail, grab the body, grab the tail, twist that sideways, out it comes. Now you've got the tail off. Grab the claws, grab that, pull it right off by twisting it. Grab the other one, pull it off by twisting it. And you've got all the major pieces broken down. I'm going to use this later on down the line for a bisque that I'm doing, so we're going to put that aside. And one of the things I got to tell you about doing lobsters is it's not a pretty sight. It's going to make a big mess, so just get into it. Here's the tail. The way I open the tail is I turn it over, spread it open like this, grab the flippers in the back, and rip those off. Those come right off, and then take your thumb and the end that you just pulled the flippers off, push your thumb through there, and you should be able to grab the whole lobster tail, and out it comes. And we're going to save these shells for later because I'm going to use them for a bisque. Getting the claws and the knuckles separated is just another matter of twisting and breaking it off. We'll do that twice, once for each. Put the knuckles aside for a second. It's great meat in here. This is my favorite part. The best way I know of to do this in one piece is to take a knife, a good hefty knife, and don't be afraid of this, but just whack it until it breaks open. And turn it over. Do the same thing. Break the back pot off, and you'll see a whole bunch of water is going to come out, and that's going to make a mess. But if you break this lower pot off carefully, you should be able to get the tendon to come out and the meat all at the same time. So now we've got a nice piece of claw meat. In this particular one right here, we've got a piece, the tendon didn't come out, so I'm just going to grab it and pull it out carefully, and you can see that it's still in one piece. Going to do the same thing. Let's clean up this mess a little bit. Going to do the same thing with the other claw. Take the knife, hit it sharply in the back, and again, sharply. Off it comes. Grab the lower part of the claw, twist that, and pull it out. This one I got lucky, the tendon came out with it. And so now we've got the whole claw. You can see that I've got the nice main pieces of the lobster all in one piece. If you're wondering how to get the meat out of these knuckles, sometimes you can use the same scissors, that you used earlier. You can cut that open, spread this apart, and out comes the knuckle meat. Easy for me to say, I guess. There's one. And here's the other. So that's the end of the video for today. I had a really good time making it. I hope you enjoyed it. With any luck, there'll be another video on making the lobster bisque from the carcasses of the lobsters. And I hope to see you all soon. Be safe and good eating.